Gwe, Deloisi Deanna. My name is Deanna Miles, and this is language lesson number 7 with the Mi'kmaq language learners. It's presented by Star Paul. And just like language 6, this language 7 lesson comes from the book that's presented on your screen, The Language of This Land, Mi'kma'ki, written by Trudy Sable and Bernie Francis. And I myself have had the pleasure of meeting Bernie Francis and participating in a 3-4 day language camp presented by him, and it's amazing. Bernie Francis is phenomenal, and he has such amazing stories to tell, and has such a knowledge of the language and of the culture, and just such a wonderful way of sharing and teaching and passing that on. And the more that I read, and the more videos that I see, the more interesting the language, and actually the makeup of the language, and some of the views become. One of those is actually the one we'll look at today, which is all about the creator. The creator principles is a really good illustration of how language reflects the fluidity of Mi'kmaq worldview. It's not really surprising to me that a word for God was adapted by the missionaries, and the word Niskam was that word that was brought over by the missionaries to be a word for God. But what I did find interesting in this lesson to learn about was that there was never one word for creator in the Mi'kmaq language. There are actually a number of different words, and what was also surprising, different verbs, not nouns, but verbs, mostly transitive verbs, that articulate different processes of creation. And 4 of those verbs that are listed that we'll learn about today are Gisaluk, Angweulk, Jegweulk, and Degweulk. And this is the 4 verbs and how they, I guess, translate and what they mean. So, Gisaluk, meaning the verb creation. Okay, so it's referring to the one who created us, he, she, or it who created us, or that which created us. So, Gisaluk is all about the verb of creation. So, that the person, the process of creation and creating us. The second one that we have is Angweulk, which is all about looking after us. So when we're referring to the creator as someone, he, she, or it who looks after us, or that embodiment or that source that looks after us, we would use the verb Angweulk. The third one that we have is Jegweulk, which is all about watching over us. So if we're referring to the creator as a being, or one who watches over us, which I certainly do many times, we would use the verb Jegweulk. And the last one that we have is Degweulk, which is that is with us. So when we're referring to that source, or he or she or it, or that which is with us, and that is, say, with us in a sense of accompaniment, or being with us in togetherness, we would use that verb Degweulk. And I found this whole concept very interesting to me, because it's such a very different way of, I guess, looking at it in comparison to the English language, and I guess my understanding of creation or God. So it was quite a very interesting read and interesting look at things. I think it's quite interesting and very neat. Also makes it very complicated, I would imagine, to have so many different forms, and it gets further complicated. So none of the words were nouns, which I had mentioned, which that to me was very interesting because often we referred, even the way we talk about the creator um, in English or in Mi'kmaq, we would think that we would refer to the creator as a noun, as a person or a being. But that's not actually the way it is. None of them are nouns that that connoted one central being as a source of creation. They're actually all different processes of creation. Um, so the creator, as those four examples, they are the one who created us, watches over, looks after us, is with us. They can refer to the creator who does all of these things. They can also describe a role or roles in the process of creation. It is understood that when someone is speaking about the creator, um, it is understood that someone is speaking about the creator when they use any of these words. So, any of those verbs that are used, it would be understood that someone is referring to the creator in any of those processes or roles of creation. What makes it very complicated and blew my mind away is that these words, or any word for creator, can be conjugated more than 400 different ways. So, blew my mind and made me realize, whoa, how complicated this could become, and how I'll never be fully fluent in the language, just knowing how many ways words for creator could be conjugated. Complicated, but also again very interesting look at things. And another aspect that I really enjoyed was the concept that God is ongoing. So the terms in reference to the creator are present tense indicative, meaning that the creator or God is ongoing. So it's never, you know, it's never a past tense. It's never, we would never refer to God or creator as something that has already happened. So a good example would be when we often would say, we would refer to God in like the Roman Catholic sense, and in the creation story we talk about as when God created the world. But that would never be used. We would never refer to um, God or creator as something that has already happened. God is always a process and a continuously manifesting creative force that's continually happening. It never has a finishing point. And I thought that that was such an interesting concept, and also so, I guess, realistic in my viewpoint, even though I've never really stopped to think about it that way. It was really interesting to read that and have that understanding. So that is the lesson, language lesson number 7 on the creator, and how different, I guess, the concept of creator or God is in the Mi'kmaq language. So thank you, Walalan, once again for such an amazing lesson, and looking forward to language lesson number 8. Namultas.